podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Welcome to the 1905 podcast, home of the world champions, Chelsea. Each week, Joe and I bring you our unfiltered takes on the highs, the lows, and everything in between, following the Blues from Gate 13 of the Matthew Harding stand. Let's hit the notes.
Full-time, Qarabag 2, Chelsea 2, and as you can probably tell from the tone of my voice, not a happy bunny. A fairly, can I call that disgraceful? I thought Qarabag played pretty well. They thoroughly deserved their point. I can't really knock them for that. Created plenty of chances. They could have even won the game at the end, where Chelsea gifted yet another chance to Qarabag. The guy less than 6 yards from goal and shot straight at Sanchez. Chelsea improved in the second half. It was a much better performance from Chelsea in the second half. A really excellent goal from Garnacho. He took that really, really well. It's about the only thing he did in the second half. He gave the ball away a lot. His counterpart on the other side, Estevão, was wonderful. He was involved in everything. His ball dribbles are fantastic. The way he takes players on was fantastic. His general all-round play was brilliant. The way he keeps the ball in play when he gets a bad pass. He complains, but does it in the right way. He moans, but then he wants the ball 5 seconds later, unlike some other players who just stand there holding their hands up in the air, waiting for the ball to come and moan. And frankly, just not good enough. I thought Garnacho, even though he scored a very good goal, and I give him credit for the goal, it was a great finish. He took it really, really well. His all-round play after that was pretty poor. He gave the ball away a lot. He had a shot that hit the corner flag. It didn't hit the corner flag. It actually went out for a throw-in 40 yards up the field, and he had an overhead kick at the death where the goalkeeper saves low to his right-hand side. But he wasn't great when he came on, although he did salvage the game. Caicedo, much improved second half. He was brilliant. He was just about everywhere. Much improved in his first half. I really felt as though he just, that being rude, not that he didn't want to be there, but I think he just assumed he wouldn't play tonight. And I think he was maybe a little bit surprised to come on when he did. But when you've got Lavia in the team, you've got to be ready to go at all times, quite frankly. The two CBs, Hato improved second half. I thought he was much better. He still was positioning all over the place, but his passing and his interceptions, I thought his general demeanour was good. He'll be pleased to get through that game without making too many mistakes in the second half. As for his friend Tosin on the right-hand side, once again, absolutely biblically horrendous. And I'm speaking to lots of people about him. This isn't one take. This isn't just me. This is all of the people that I know are messaging me now, telling me, why is this guy on the team? Supporters from other teams are texting me saying, what the fuck is Tosin all about? So I'm sorry, but this is not good enough. This football club deserves better. And he, frankly, he's just an absolute mistake waiting to happen every single time he touches the ball. He practically trips up over his own feet more often than not. He's got like size 17 feet by the looks of it. And every time he passes it, he tends to scuff it. And even when he clears the ball, like as a kick up the field, he tends to just half clear it all the time. Very, very poor. For a man who's 9'5" and can't head the ball, and he's a centre-back, I don't know quite what he brings to this team. Enzo Fernandez, he was poor, but at least he was dynamic in the midfield. He got quite a few shots away. His shot near the end, which hits the lap on the arse and goes out for a goal kick, I think was probably going in the bottom corner. But he did give the ball away a lot. The corner at the end, which led to them having their last chance to make it 3-2, was a disgrace. It didn't even make the front man. They broke, and then he made it 3-2 to them. So again, as a player that you pay in excess of over 100 million for, you've got to be able to deliver in the key moments, and that just means putting a ball in a good area for someone to attack. But once again, we don't even make the front post with the corner, and it goes up the other end. Reece continued to battle second half. He made some good interceptions. He looks a little bit tired. I thought Gusto may have come on for him, but I think we used all our substitutions. Was fairly steady tonight. He was. What I would say with Cucurella, he got given a lot of fouls against him. The referee was diabolical. I've never seen so many fouls given for nothing. Like literally, you just touch someone, foul. Touch someone, foul. He was horrendous. And we said this after match week 1. You're going to get a lot of really bad refs in this competition. He was one of them. He was bloody awful all night long. And you just knew the moment someone went near another player, they would just hit the deck and he would give a free kick. It was embarrassing how bad the referee was. Rob Sanchez didn't have a lot to do. He picked the ball up the net from the first goal, and he had a penalty against him. Other than that, he didn't give much away. He was fairly solid, nothing to complain about there. Liam Delap coming as a sub at half time, looked quite lively, but didn't really get in the game. He held the ball up once or twice. He made a couple of nice runs, which we didn't find. We didn't find him. And then sort of the chance went, and Qarabag sat further back, and you knew that once Qarabag went into a low block, we'd find it difficult. We did create some chances, but nothing really clear cut. There was maybe the Enzo chance, which he sort of went to the top corner, but the goalkeeper turned it over the bar. And we had a few crosses again tonight that just kept going far too deep and far too long, going out for goal kicks, or just hitting the back post with the fullback clearing it away. And yeah, just not good enough. Just really sloppy stuff. You're in good positions, find a white shirt. They're big and bright. Surely we can find a white shirt in the box. It's just so many opportunities spurned and squandered. But do you know what? I've got to give Qarabag credit for that, for the way they played. Overall, they more than deserved their point. Chelsea, I think, will be annoyed being the team that should go and win that game, but they didn't. They didn't do it, and I hate to say it, that's going to make life quite difficult. If you beat Barcelona or you beat one of these other sides, you do make life easy for yourself. But they are going to be tough games. If you lose against Barcelona now, you're going to put yourself in a real position of, that's a difficult place to come back from. Yeah, they've let themselves down. I'm sorry, too many changes, too many players' egos kind of, I think, being stroked at the moment. I want to see a more settled 11. I don't mind changes here and there. I think it's just too many on game weeks where you just have to go and win. I think when you play at home, with the Ajax game the other week, it's a home game. Ajax are quite poor at the moment. You knew they were going to come with quite a weak mentality, a weak mind. Qarabag away, go and get yourself ahead. Try and kill the crowd, kill their spirit somewhat. But we didn't do that. We allowed them back into the game. We go 1-0 up, 2-1 down, and then we didn't show enough desire to go and get that second goal. We had some chances, but they weren't really clear. The Buonanotte strike near the end was a great hit. I actually thought it was in. But again, it's from distance. It's not a concise, well-worked move. And we just slot one in the corner. Even the Garnacho's goal that we score, he actually makes a poor decision to start with. It ricochets, he gets a second chance, and he goes through and scores. So again, it wasn't fantastic play. But I think on that one tonight, I don't want to harp on about Maresca, but I think he probably did get a couple of decisions wrong today. I think that's probably not his finest hour. It kind of smacks a little bit of Claudio Ranieri era of just tinkering with the side just for the sake of it. And again, we're trying to give people minutes when I don't really care. If Buonanotte sits on the bench the entire game, I don't care. If Tosin sits on the bench the entire game, I don't care. Like, play Trev, play Ashampon, play the people that are actually in form. Like, I'm sorry, Tosin's been horrendous. He's been horrendous the last 3 games, and yet he still plays. And you know what? He's not even played a full game in these matches. He's actually played bits and pieces. And he's still been horrific, and he's still getting chances to play. He's even been captain of my club. He's not the only one. But these are decisions. I'm sorry. He must have dirt on someone in the club, because to keep getting these opportunities is just unacceptable in my eyes. And I've come back to him because I feel as though he's actually taken a position away from one of our better players. I feel as though there's at least 2 sitting on the bench tonight, and you might argue I'm Maresca's saving them for the weekend. I mean, yeah, maybe so. But do you know what? It's Wolves at home. And again, it's not to be disrespectful to Wolves or anybody else, but if you're going to be a top elite player playing for Chelsea Football Club, you've got to be able to play more than 1 game a week. These are the facts. These are just the facts now. And you've got to play like him, coming in to play like that, and against a team that, yes, they did quite well tonight, Qarabag, but they're not a good fun. They're not a good side. I haven't got a lot to say really about that game, and I don't think we should be sitting here saying that was brilliant, because it wasn't. It was just okay. And okay, sometimes against those teams you win. On another night we might have won 3-1, but equally on another night we might have lost that game. So yeah, it's a point, I suppose. What can I say? It's a point in the Champions League. In the league, in that Sunderland game the other week, I think that you've got to take the point when you haven't played well and it's getting near the end, and you can't just be gung ho and slinging everybody forward. In the Champions League, you don't get a lot of opportunities. Once these 8 games are gone, they're gone and you're out. So, Chelsea may still qualify, they may still do quite well in these remaining games, but this is one of our bankers, really, and that's the way you've got to look at it. And yeah, I'm not very happy about it, and I'm not overly bothered, if I'm honest, what anyone thinks. I'll just say how it is, quite frankly. And we go from good performance, bad performance, good performance, bad performance, and it's just too Jekyll and Hyde. We're just all over the place in terms of our quality. And yeah, I just don't see a lot of other English teams in the Champions League doing that sort of performance tonight. I just don't see it. I think we are the ones that have this in us, this constant up and down. But yes, I'll leave Chris to give his view on the game. And I know he's in Germany this week, so hopefully got to see the match, although maybe he wished he may have missed it. He can give you the lowdown on Wolves in our upcoming fixture on Saturday. I think it's Saturday evening, our fixture. And yeah, just really, I can't help it. Just in my own head there with that one tonight. Just really disappointing. It is a draw. It's not a loss, I know, but yeah, it's really not a good result. It's not a good result for us. And I think just in the bigger picture, you're really putting these pressure games on us to beat Barcelona and Atalanta, Napoli, etc. They're tough matches, really tough matches. Just sadly, once again, too many mistakes tonight, too many off performances. And if you do take these teams lightly in the Champions League, you get no easy games and you will drop points. So it's a massive lesson learned. We keep saying every week it's a lesson learned for them. And bloody hell, I know they're a lot of school kids, aren't they? So I suppose it's just another football lesson. But you don't get a lot of chances in the Champions League to rectify it. So yeah, it's a huge, huge disappointment and 2 points dropped.
I have to say, Joe, I'm very much enjoying your current love or not of Tosin that is just growing week by week, isn't it? He's definitely not on the Joe Kevin Christmas card list for this year. Oh, so frustrating. I'm in Germany. I'm at Munich airport at the moment on the way home. And Joe and I were messaging actually before the game. You're feeling really upbeat about Chelsea. And so, a good win tonight, followed by a good win at the weekend, and actually run a great little run of form. It's all good. It just kind of sums up where we are, I think, this season, which is just so bipolar in our performances, so inconsistent. Like we said, like you put a performance in like we did at Spurs, feel so professional, so on it from the first minute, and then turn up last night and do that, which was just poor, isn't it? Just really poor. I don't know where the blame lies. It certainly, Maresca has to take a good share of it. But also you look at the players and think, for those guys who've come in, you've got to perform better than that. Like, you're looking at people like Jamie Gittins thinking, well, this is your chance. You've got your start. Give us something. And yeah, just too many players just not stepping up when you need them to. Where does it... I don't know, I'm trying to think like where to start really in terms of why that is a problem for us. We've obviously got a very young squad. We talk about that all the time. There's going to be an element of inconsistency there. And maybe there is a lack of that real grown-up in the room to make sure that you do turn up in a game like that, in the Champions League, and perform to your best. Quite a bit actually has been made of the way that Chelsea prepared for the game. So basically we arrived the night before, quite late, a late flight, I think, which meant very little preparation time. Perhaps that impacts the performance. Seems a strange decision by the club to do that. Bear in mind the game was on a Wednesday and we obviously played Spurs on Saturday. So plenty of time to decide how to do the travel arrangements and make sure the players have the best chance of performing on the day. I don't think that would have helped. We knew there'd be rotation. I sort of previewed the saying I did expect there to be quite a lot of changes, which there were. You probably, in some ways, it was almost a bit stronger than I thought it might be with Cucurella and Reece James both playing. But that centre-back pairing just didn't work at all, did it? I mean, fair play that he kept them on and they did recover in the second half, as you said, Joe, but Yeah, Hato had a night to forget, really. And Tosin is just a problem, isn't he? He just is a problem every time he plays. You just worry about him, really, and in terms of parts of his performance. And there's an old adage that I've often kind of used when I talk about my own football, like amateur level of football, which is that you're only as good as your worst player on the pitch. And I think sometimes I've played in teams where we've got a really good group of players and then a really bad right back, and then the opposition just targets the right back, and it's really hard then to win games consistently because you've got a weakness there. And I think with Chelsea at the moment, we can feel like this is like the Tosin, picking on Tosin pod, isn't it? But he is definitely a weakness, and if you're looking at facing up to Chelsea, the lack of consistency at centre half and the amount of rotation that we're doing just isn't really working. And it does feel like now there's a real argument for Maresca to pick a pairing and give them a run of games, and a run of games in the league and Champions League. League Cup, you can potentially treat a little bit differently, but in those two competitions, which are incredibly important to us, pick your pairing and give them a run. And I'll put my head on the line here. Who would my pairing be? It would probably be, I think Achimpong's in it. I think he's the easy one. He's the first name that comes to mind. It's probably Achimpong and probably Trev. It's probably Achimpong and Chalobah, but I'd just like them to be given a proper run of games. Stop bringing them off after 85 minutes, 88 minutes. Just give them 90 minutes. Let them build up a relationship, build up some momentum in clean sheets, and just stop that part of our game, because we are letting ourselves down too often in games where we go ahead so often and then let the opposition back in through often actually individual mistakes, which is certainly the case in both the goals yesterday. And I don't think you can really put that at Maresca's door. The number of mistakes that Chelsea have made that have led to goals this year has been really shocking. In terms of where it leaves us in the Champions League, I think it makes what I want to call automatic qualification just really tricky now. Chelsea, obviously, just for those who aren't sure on exactly the rules, because it is confusing, the top 8 teams basically qualify straight through to the quarterfinal stage, and the teams from 9th down to 24th get through to what is basically the next qualifying round in February. Chelsea would have loved to have been in that top 8, and realistically now, with 4 games to go, would probably have to win 3 of them. So one of those games is home to Paphos, which you'd have to hope is a gimme. The other 3, though, you've got Barcelona at home, Atalanta and Napoli away, which are really tough games. And if I'm being honest, I don't see us winning 3 out of the 4 of those. I think probably win 2, draw 1, lose 1 feels about the balance that you kind of probably take at this point. And that would get us through to that most likely qualifying round, which means obviously playing an extra couple of games in Feb. But do you know what? As long as we're into the knockout stage, as much as I want to moan and go, we should have got top 8, we didn't have the easiest draw. If you look at our draw compared to Spurs, for example, ours was significantly harder despite being in those top seeds. And yeah, as long as you're in the Champions League at the other side of Christmas, I don't think that you have a huge complaint, although it does mean a bit of fixture congestion in the new year. But, that's what you're in these competitions for, to play plenty of games. So it is what it is. But I think that's probably now where we've left ourselves with, dropping 2 points last night. Looking ahead to the weekend with Wolves, I think you couldn't have made it up, could you? And you've got new manager bounce type of thing. Obviously, we don't think, as at time of recording, that they will have a new manager in place. Doesn't look like they're looking to rush the appointment, so it will be a caretaker in charge for the game. We seem to often either come up against a new manager or a caretaker. A few games that immediately jump to mind. I'm thinking of like Duncan Ferguson in charge of Everton when we got done at Goodison Park, I think 3-1. I remember Michael Carrick being in charge of Man United when he came to the Bridge and they got a 0-0 draw, I think it was, and kind of locked the door on us. Did we lose to Ruud van Nistelrooy Man United at some point, maybe? And there's many an example, I think, of us getting unstuck against a caretaker manager, but really there's no excuses at the weekend against Wolves. rock bottom in the league, really struggled. And yeah, Chelsea just needed a good, solid win, don't we? I feel like there's really not been many Premier League games this year that have felt comfortable. It would be great to go to that game on Saturday night, bouncing at the bridge, knowing that you can win 2 or 3-0, enjoy the game with half an hour to go, not worried, and just feel confident in what the team are doing. And actually would be, if you look at the league table, now is the time to put the foot on the pedal and just put a run together and start to sort of break ourselves away from that group. And I mean, let's be in mid-table, before the Spurs game, I think we were down in 9th. It's that tight, isn't it, still? So we need to put a run together, and this is an absolute must-win for that. Otherwise, you do sort of worry about where the season's going to be going in terms of ups and downs. And in terms of the team, I think the one thing I will say is that Estevão has to start. We've been kind of crying out for week to week, haven't we? Saying, surely it's time to give him another start. We talked about it on the last pod, Joe kind of crying for him to start as well, calling for him to get a game. I just think he is the one consistent winger right now that you can trust to do something and create a bit of magic. So really hope we do see him start. And in attack, I think it will be interesting, actually. I think the Marc Guéhi situation's strange, isn't it? He's kind of gone from looking like he was back in the running again, had a couple of decent games, struggled a bit against Sunderland and hasn't kicked a ball since. Kind of understandable maybe in the Spurs game, but you thought he would have got minutes at Wolves, and then Tariq George starts over him last night. So yeah, it's a weird situation with him. But I think, yeah, the balance of that attack will be the most interesting part of the lineup, I think, at the weekend, and kind of who plays in the number 10 is the one that's sort of most unclear at the moment, whether it's João Pedro or someone else. I don't know about everyone else, I just really miss Cole Palmer now. I just miss watching Chelsea games with him not playing. He is it feels like we've hardly seen him this season, doesn't it, really? So I just, like everyone, I'm just crying for him to come back into the team, and it just makes watching Chelsea a more joyous experience, doesn't he? Other than that, we'll keep today's pod pretty short and sharp. Hope for a bit of consistency from the mighty Blues, and we'll be back on Sunday to reflect on that Wolves game, and hopefully reflecting on back-to-back Premier League wins. Those were the Chelsea notes for this week. If you enjoyed the podcast, do us a favour and share it with a fellow Blue. And we'd love to hear your thoughts, so leave us a review wherever you're listening. Wherever you may be, stay carefree, and remember, every little thing's gonna be all right.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.